Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation. Oh, well, awesome. Well, I'll try not to keep too much time, but there's a lot of stuff I'd love to be able to talk about. I just discovered. Ah, cool. Well, I just discovered the band last week through your PR. Asked me if I'd be interested in checking you guys out, and I was able to check out the print, and I absolutely fell in love with what the band is all about. And I just really love the experimentation and the lack of genre sticking to itness. I mean, just like making the music that you want to make, and that's just so cool to see where it all expanding into so many different horizons, but it all fits together. And then I went back and I've checked out the previous albums and singles and like been studying up on this, and I really love what you've done, and I can't wait to hear more from the new album Places.
Did you say houses?
I did for a second, but then it was Places.
It's good. Probably we're thinking of Handmade and Places at the same time. I've done the same thing. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, it's the print. The print was pretty much just a backwards. It's basically part 2 of Cover Girl, which was our first single that we really released once we got signed to Solid State, and it was cool, like, at the time, because we were kind of pushing for originality, but I think it got taken away by the fact that everyone assumed we were talking about the fact that we were original, and I think I was definitely not going for that. I was going for the fact that people should be themselves and not have other people influence who they are, and just be original, like, to themselves, and do things from your own will. And then when the print, when the print was being created, I was like, you know what, just do the complete opposite of that. Not like I was telling people not to be original, but I'm just trying to solidify the fact that we weren't talking about being original. It's just like, I don't know, I wanted to kind of take a complete reverse of of Cover Girl in general and just say, we're not original. Like, there's no music in existence that's original anymore. It's never going to be original. So screw it, whatever. We're the ongoing concept, I guess, and that's who we are. So,
that's a really cool way of looking at it, I think. I mean, and you do raise a very valid point. I mean, there is a lot of stagnation when it comes to like coming up with new musical concepts like that, but when you are able to innovate like that, I mean, when you are able to blend different things together and form a new sound, I mean, that's what I really appreciate about what you guys are doing. I mean, throughout the entire career so far. I mean, yeah, I mean, it goes into a lot of territories that have already been recorded in the past, but you definitely make it your own.
We make it our own, yeah, but, like, I think the statement that I made back in 2013 or whatever was Saloon and Cover Girl was, I think, assumed to be, like, there's never been a song or a genre that's what we're doing, which was not the case, and I feel like I totally misread your question. It was, I don't know, I feel like we try to be original, but we're not, and we kind of just try to do our own thing. But I mean, in the scope of, I don't know, I guess it's just so hard to be original in general these days. There's just, everyone's doing everything unique, and it's just hard to be ahead of the game. So you kind of just strive on everyone else's coattails all the time, no matter what. And I guess that's just life. I don't know. Maybe I'll just accept the fact that I'll never be an original person. And maybe that's just me at this point. Maybe I'll think I'll be original later on in life. I don't know.
Well, I think
that's always a hard. I'm sorry. It's such a hard question to answer because I don't know. People ask me this question a lot. I can never state it correctly, and I ramble on for hours. So yeah, that's a hard one.
Oh yeah, and that's totally understandable too. But you know, the important thing, especially when you're creating music, is to make sure that you're actually enjoying the music that you're writing. Otherwise, I really don't see a point in doing it. So when you are able to find something that really clicks with you, clicks with everyone else in the band, and you are able to forge with that sound, I mean, that's always more rewarding.
It is, yeah, and something that I always do is, and it sounds pretentious and stuff, but I like, because I don't listen to music, like, hardly at all. I would rather listen to talk radio or something than, I mean, when I'm driving, the last thing I want to hear is music. I like silence, to be honest, when I'm driving, because I'm tired of music. It's my passion, but I've been around it for so long and created it for so long. I don't like it that much, and mainly it's because I don't like a lot of music. Like, music, a lot of bands suck, honestly. Like, I just don't think it's good. So when I write music, I like writing music that I like music that, and it sounds pretentious when I say I like listening to my own music. That sounds so egotistical. But if I get chills down my spine from listening to my own music, I know that I'm creating something good. Not because I'm an idiot that just thinks I'm the best in the world, but because I like the song that I wrote and the music that is coming out of the speakers. And that's how I've always viewed this band as something that is who we are and what we want to create and what we love to listen to. So, yeah.
You know, it's funny because I do hear other people say that is a pretentious way to look at it, is wanting to listen to your own music. But to me, is if you're writing music that you can't fully get behind, if you can't get those chills when you're writing the music, why are you writing the music?
I don't know. I don't know how someone can write. I don't know how someone can write music that they don't even like to make. Like, I know that I make music that I necessarily don't listen to. Like, I guess I'm getting more into the realm of making music that is the music that bands that I like also make. So I'll rephrase that. Like, for example, there are a few bands in this world that I do like, and I feel like my music is going towards what they're doing more so than what other bands are doing. But that's because I like that music. It's not really an influence, but the older I get, the more contemporary or poppy I get, the more I want to just make music that's not as crazy, I guess, or whatever. I just don't like being fake to an extent. Like, I want to make stuff that's actually like me writing and not just like me making music for other fans to enjoy. Because I'm so elitist when it comes to music. And I hate so much of music in general, so I want to make sure that I make something that I like too, because if I'm not making anything that I like, what's the point of making music? And yeah, going back to your point, a lot of people think that's an elitist and pretentious comment to make, but I want to listen to music that I like. I'm sorry, like, I like listening to my music sometimes. That's why I made it. And I think people feel the same way when they write music. I think sometimes they just feel like they're stuck in a corner where they have to create 7 albums of the exact same style or something like that, you know, and never strive away from that style. And that's kind of a really crappy thing to be in. You can't do anything new.
So with that said, how did you stay inspired when it came to the new album?
Stay inspired?
Yeah, I mean, like, making sure that you don't write the same music and it's music that you are enjoying.
I mean, it's like, I guess a lot of it comes from emotions. A lot of it just comes from, I don't know, like, I like progressing as a musician. I feel like if I hear a riff or something that I've done in the past, I instantly want to do the complete opposite of it, and that kind of makes me want to try to do something different. So on top of that, I had, like, we had 3 new members in the band, and they also contributed a lot. I think, I don't know, I guess I just always want to do something that is out of my comfort zone, something that's outside of the box, and something that kind of portrays what the ongoing concept is, which is something that's never really ending. And I guess doing anything that I've done in the past seems irrelevant to the concept. So, I don't know. Does that answer the question right? I don't know.
Oh, I don't think there's really a right or a wrong way to be able to answer that. I mean, it's when it comes to your own material. I mean, is just like we've been talking about. I mean, it's got to be music that you're fully behind, the kind of music that you want to make. Otherwise, it's going to sound fake. And
exactly, yeah. Yeah. I just want to make sure the ongoing concept is portrayed correctly. Like I had so many songs that I wrote. And I didn't really like a lot of them because it felt like I was just doing either Handmade Part 2 or Saloon Part 2 or whatever. I didn't like the fact that I was just writing songs that are very similar to other songs that I've written in the past. And so the print was a good example of a song that was kind of doing a nod towards the fact that I was writing the song about everything, but it also kind of sounded like previous songs we'd done in the past. It was kind of like a "you guys all suck" kind of thing, you know. But everything else I felt like I really cared about, and the fact that I cut so many songs and really wanted the songs that were on this album to be songs that are just a new not revival. What is the word I'm thinking of? Whatever, just new ongoing concept. That's all I wanted. I didn't want ongoing concept 2.0. I just wanted, here we are. We have new stuff, and it's all different, and it's not like the last album. It's not like the album before. It's ongoing concept. That's the whole point. So.
And with that in mind, I mean, how much does the songs change from like the original idea of like a starting riff or vocal melody or whatever until it gets to the final product that ends up on the album?
Can you hold on? Can you expand on that? What do you mean by that?
Oh, I mean like when you're coming up with songs, or the other band members are coming up with ideas for songs, like how much are they staying to the original sound that the original idea came from, as opposed to like everyone getting together and adding their parts and when it comes into the album?
Oh, like, I mean, there is not one thing that is held like we have to do this because this is an ongoing concept thing. It's always, let's just make music and let's just be who we are. And I don't know, I am totally okay with doing stuff that we've done in the past. The ongoing concept sound is a sound that people have figured out to an extent, and that's cool. But when you write music, it's free for all, really. And but at the end of the day, too, it's also not a free-for-all because I have to say sometimes I go, this is too abstract for what we are, and I have to define the line to an extent. And I don't know. It's just whatever we feel like, and it's. I think that's the cool part about the ongoing concept is the fact that it's like it really comes down to how good we are at playing our instruments, because there are bands out there that are 100 times better at playing their instruments than we are. So we got to figure out how to create music that we like with the instruments that we think seem fit to be in the album, and also create something that people can get stuck in their head without being the best musicians in the world, because I'm not the best vocalist, I'm not the best guitar player, I'm not the best drummer, I'm not the best piano player. But I want to do something different every time, and if I do something different, it makes me feel like I've accomplished progressing in at least the band and maybe myself. So I don't know. That's also a hard question. I'm so bad at answering questions from interview stuff. I just ramble on and on and on. So I'm sorry.
That's not a problem at all. In fact, I actually encourage that more rather than me just having like a static list of questions and not really caring about what you're having to say. I mean, like the only things I had written down was the label and the album name, just to make sure I had those right. And I already did mess that up in the beginning, but it's like, but
I ramble.
Like, yeah, it's just I like having a real conversation rather than just like a Q&A kind of thing. It's like I like getting into the
okay.
Yeah, I like getting into the mindset of where everything's going.
Well, ask me more stuff, man. Do whatever you want. I'm totally open to whatever you have to say. If you have to go, you can totally go. If you want to keep asking me questions, I will do my best to do it in a simplistic way, but usually I just ramble. But sometimes people like that. I don't know, because I don't know. Ask me whatever you want. Keep going.
All right. Okay. well, there was a couple things I did want to hit on a little bit, especially when it comes to the lyrical content of what's going on this time around. I mean, when it comes to like the musical aspects, how much does the lyrical content get affected by it?
Okay. Good question. Here we go for a little bit. You're gonna hold on for the ride. When I write lyrics usually with emotion, but I don't write them with emotion as in like I'm sitting there on a piece of paper. Okay, I'll back up. Hold on. When I record music, I record and I do vocals and I do guitars, I do drums, I record drums like as far as like fake drums, all at the same time, and then everyone comes back and does them again. And how that works is that basically I'm not writing lyrics or music at separate times. I'm pretty much doing it all at the same time, creatively. And when it comes to lyrics, I have a really bad problem with like screaming or singing something right off the top of my head about how I'm feeling. And usually it's around the chorus area of the song, and those lyrics and phrasing and melody all become basically the forefront of the song. So if I were to sing something right off the top of my head about how I'm feeling or something weird, and it sounds cool, I have to then go, dang, I just made a chorus about this, and now I got to create all of the verses and bridges or whatever around this stupid chorus I just made off the top of my head. And that's basically how my lyric structure happens. And it sucks sometimes because I really don't know where I was going with it. It was just like an instant emotional spark in my brain that just made me scream or sing this certain thing. I mean, it's happened. Almost every song you hear on ongoing concept records is me singing for the first time a chorus and then making it up and the melody and everything. First time, just punch in, sing it, and that's it. So, like, songs like Saloon, or say, Don't Mess Up One Single Time, or there's Unwanted from Handmade is, I want to fall in love, I want to fall, like, that's all me just on the first take, just like, whatever comes to my brain is going to happen, and then I got to create an entire thing about it. So that's usually my lyrical synopsis of how I do that. Is really odd because a lot of people will sit down and write stuff on a piece of paper and then create it from that point, and I am usually doing the opposite of that. So yeah, that's
But no, it's like, I actually really appreciate that because it really does have more of that organic feel to it, and it feels a lot more natural that way sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean most takes, because I have good recording like equipment. Like I record everything myself. So like when I'm recording, I'm sitting at my desk. I don't even care if I'm standing up. I don't need good posture. I know how to scream. I know how to sing. I did the entire album sitting down because I don't care about standing up. If you can make it sound good sitting down, you can make it sound standing up. I don't care. The thing is that I sit there, I push play, because I want to be like in my comfort zone. I put the microphone right next to me, and I just sing whatever I want to sing, and it's just off the cuff. And honestly, it's funny because there's a song off the new album called Off the Cuff, and that was our last song we wrote, and it literally was just me singing random stuff about how the fact we had to get another song done, and most of it is just off the cuff. Like I didn't know what I was going to say. I just said stuff that involved me being stressed about the fact that we had to get the album done like in the next few days, and I didn't know what to do, and whatever. And there we are. And most of it is just all one takes, and a lot of the choruses that you hear from any of our albums are just one takes of me just singing random stuff. And I feel like the energy that I had at that exact moment is really hard to replicate. So when people tell me, they go, oh, yes, we demo all of our stuff, and then we do a studio and then recreate it. And I'm like, how do you recreate that moment that you had when you felt emotion? Like you felt everything that you were saying all at one time when you created that one part. How do you do that again in a studio? Another time, away from where you are, like in a different location or something. So a lot of the takes are just, that's technically the demo, quote unquote. It's not the demo, it's just the same thing. It's just me with the emotion at the exact time. And I feel like that's very important for making the music that we do. So I don't know, maybe a weird way to. I don't know how to explain it any better than that, I guess.
Well, again, it's like I really truly appreciate that. I mean, it sounds like a great what I try to do with interviews, which is in a different style, but just like doing everything off the top of my head, just like going off of what's going on, and just like really listening, seeing what fits, what doesn't, and it's really cool to be able to hear that almost all, if not all, the choruses are done in one take with just that emotion that's going on behind it, because I could really hear that emotion that's been going on from the songs that I've heard from the band, and it's great to know that it is just like done in one take with that amount of emotion behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's still like a lot of like planning involved for certain parts of the song. Like, I mean, it really just comes down to certain sections. Like, it's not like I just push play and then sing the entire song in one take and go, that's it. No, it's like I kind of just there's certain parts of songs that are actually the single take at the exact time, making it up on the spot with the feeling I had, and then it's just building the song around that, and then at that point it becomes more of an actual process of doing harmonies and doing all the things underneath and making sure that you're saying the words articulately, because sometimes in my songs I don't articulate very well, and no one can understand what I'm saying or whatever, and so it becomes that. But like a lot of the times the main premise of the song is based around me just not knowing what I'm going to sing, me singing it right off the cuff, whatever comes out, and going, dang, that's kind of cool, let's build a song around that, and that's how it starts.
So with that said, I mean, organic approach to it, of course having things thought out, but having that organic approach to it, how do you approach things when it comes to the live show?
To a live show? I don't know. Well, number one, I make sure that all my gear is working, because I have a really bad tendency of things not working on our, like, we literally, this past tour we just got off from, so many things broke, and it was really annoying. But when I approach the stage, I guess, and that's what you're asking, right, is what happens when I approach the stage?
Well, I meant like...
kind of thing.
Well, that can work too, but I meant, it's just like as far as like doing the live show and playing the songs live, like how do you approach that?
So like, okay, I get what you're saying. So when I do a live show, I loosely base everything I've screamed or sang kind of with a grain of salt. I do it to the extent that people understand what I'm saying. So, like, there's very, like, I guess basically I never really play the same thing the same way every night, because I get bored with, like, singing certain phrases the same way or melodies the same way. I mean, I don't change them up completely, but I like adding new parts to them. In fact, it's funny because we've been playing this new song called The Print, and every time I sing it live, I sing it in a different way than I recorded it. And I like the way I actually sing it live more than the way I recorded it, and I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't think of it that way now, because it sounds cooler live now, but that's kind of the charm of it, is that people get to hear a different version of the song. And I love it when people, I've always loved that, when, like, live, like when you see an artist live and they perform the song just a tiny bit different than the original, it gives you a sense of something new, and you can grasp the song, but you can also grasp a new version of the song. And with The Print especially, there's a lot of parts that I sang on the record that I wish I would have not done, but I can do them live, so that almost makes them cooler, because people can go, oh, that was so cool that he did that instead of that, or something like that. So when I come on stage, I come on doing the premise of the song, but I like to change things up a lot and do it my way after. I mean, come on, if you've heard Cover Girl for the 30,000th time, I don't think we've ever played a show without playing Cover Girl, and I'm so tired of playing it, but every time I play it, I change it up, and people love it, and that gives me chills every time, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, there we go. That's big. I'll put that.
And I think that's really cool. I mean, that gives fans and people who enjoy your music more an incentive to actually go see you live, because they'll hear somewhat different renditions of songs that they know from the record, but possibly even better versions to their ears with what you're doing with different shows every time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, I've seen a few bands out there that just they literally just repeat their it sounds like they're just playing their record on stage, and it's just like, come on, like, I'm not trying to bash anyone. I'm kind of an elitist person when it comes to music, because so much music sucks, and there's just very few bands that I enjoy. And when I see a band live and they play the record exactly how it sounds in the studio, number one, I think, what are they doing that's not organic? Do they have fake guitars? Do they have fake drums? Whatever. And then, the vocalist does exactly what he screamed on the record, and I'm just like, what? Just bring me some variation. That's why I came to see you. I wanted to see, you perform it. I didn't want to see you, computerize it and be a robot on stage. It just sounds, I don't know. So I try to, bring a bit of, and our live performance usually is a little more chaotic than other bands, and we want to have a good, visual aspect to our music too. So I think a lot of people come out to see the visual aspect of a band. And I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else, because it sounds like I'm saying that, but I'm not. It's just that's what we strive to be. We strive to be very visual and very, just different all the time. If you come to an ongoing concert show today and then come to an ongoing concert show tomorrow, you will see two completely different shows. So that's what I want.
And I love hearing that kind of dedication behind it. I mean, it's just from the instrumentation to the lyrical content to changing the songs up just enough. I mean, again, like I mentioned before, I mean, it's more of an incentive to go see the band live. I mean, if you do just want to hear the album note for note, I mean, you can just buy a copy of the album and listen to it at home.
You just go to rent a venue out and play the album on the PA. There you go. Nah, that's mean. I don't. But you know what? Okay. So you understand? Yeah. It's to me. It's there's movies that you can go watch in the theater over and over and over again, and then you can go to the actual theater and see a live Broadway show, and I can guarantee you that show will not be the same if you watched it 2 nights in a row. It's going to be a little different because there's going to be different aneurysms. You're going to be different ways of there might even be mistakes, and that's kind of the charm of going to live shows. If you're just listening to music, on iTunes or whatever, it's just people need to see something different all the time, and I think that's the charm of live music, and that's what keeps it going, is that you can go to a show and see a band perform differently every night. And sometimes the technical difficulties, or the fact that the singer is having a hard time singing, or the guitar player's guitar amp goes out, that's all random things that happen, and that creates the fun part about shows, is you just never know what's going to happen. So I think that's why I keep doing live shows. Otherwise, I would just quit touring. People just wanted to hear my song on iTunes while I stand there and pretend to sing it. I don't know.
And speaking of that, is there anything lined up for the end of the year or 2018 yet, as far as more live shows?
So we have a few shows coming up in the next week and a half. Just to kind of promote the new record. Our first show starts October 6th, which is when the album comes out. And then we have a show October 8th, October 9th, and the first show starts in Bremerton, Seattle, and then goes to Tacoma on the 8th, and then Spokane on the 9th. And then we go to Salt Lake City, because we haven't played Salt Lake City in a long time. And we just go back up. So it's a really small little tour. But then other than that, we are not really doing much at this point. It's getting a little late in the year to really tour a lot. We live in Idaho, so touring anywhere past the end of October is pushing it as far as weather, because we deal with a lot of snow and a lot of ice, and it's always kind of a sketchy thing. We basically have to go through not only Idaho but Montana to get to most of our, and Wyoming on top of that, to get to most of our tours, because most of them start kind of in the Midwest, in Denver or Ohio or something. So it's always a tough decision to choose winter to tour, because we don't want to die in the van from some crazy accident or something. So, and a lot of bands don't like touring in general in the winter. So, but I think next year for sure, we're definitely going to have a lot of stuff going on in the spring. I don't really know what yet, but that's too hard to tell. It's only, what, is it the end of, is it October? What day is it today?
September 27th.
Yeah, it's September 27th. There's no way to tell. I have no idea what's going on in March or April of next year, but that's just because it's always undecided until probably the end of October. So, but yeah, we have a couple shows, and then we'll do a couple other like local shows, and then we'll go back out next year and hopefully have a good year. So, yeah.
Well, I'm definitely glad to hear that. I mean, I'm glad to see that you guys are as active as you are. I mean, when it comes to the recording process, when it comes to the live shows, you know, giving the fans their money's worth, the people who may not be familiar with you going into a show, hopefully enjoying the live organic feel of what you guys are going for, and just like consistently making the music that you want to make. I mean, I appreciate that more than any pandering or just doing what the fans want. I mean, I'm always more for the artists making the music that they want to make, because I'm all about that authenticity and realism when it comes to music. Otherwise, I see zero point in making it. And that's why I'm so happy to be able to talk to you about all of this great stuff and have this great conversation. I mean, you might say it's like ranting, but to me, it's like it's really cool insight into, you know, making sure that you write the music that you want to write, play the music that you want to play, and go out there and see who wants to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's how, I mean, yeah, I thank you for saying that. I think a lot of people kind of go into it for more of the, you know, like, look at me, I'm in a band kind of thing, and I look at it as something that's, I just like making music, and I like playing to people. Like, playing to people is in a way a pretentious thing to say, but I love when people shout my lyrics back, and it's like, oh my gosh, people are actually singing back to me or something, and I feel like they're singing back words that I wrote back in 2012 when I was 19 years old, and just randomly screamed something in the microphone because I had some emotional thing I wanted to say. And now people are shouting those lyrics back to me, and I'm on stage. I'm in Florida. Hurricane Irma is coming towards us. We're all going to die, whatever. Anyways, I'm just saying that because we were literally like 2 days before that hurricane hit. Oh, wow. And we get away, and I keep touring, and we go to Houston, and Houston had just had that hurricane, so we did a benefit show, and like I see all the stuff that was going on, and I'm just like, I am so lucky to not only be seeing this in person, but I am so lucky to be doing what I'm doing. I've never been in a car crash. I've been to so many sketchy Walmarts to sleep in our van. I've never been attacked, never been robbed. I mean, I'm knocking on wood right now. There's a door next to me. Knock on wood. But I am so lucky to be doing what I'm doing. My parents are so supportive of what I do. They aren't super rich or anything, so they help me as much as they can. A lot of bands have extremely wealthy families or something that enable them to do a lot more than what I'm able to do. But the thing is that I love doing what I do, and it's sometimes rough. I don't make a lot of money. I don't live in a very great house. I have 2 kitties. They're the greatest. I have a great girlfriend. I love planting and gardening. Like, I know that if anyone hears this that is towards me, they're going to go, oh my gosh, Dawson's talking about his garden again. I do, though. I have tomatoes. I have onions and all this stuff. And I'm domesticated to an extent, but I love touring. And I'm very, 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 very fortunate to be living here in America doing this. So I don't know why I went on that tangent. I guess I'm just very thankful to be able to come home with a van that's got 230,000 miles of driving on it, and I still made it home without a single problem. And this album is great in my opinion because I like listening to it, and I hope that people will enjoy listening to it as well as much as I do. And if that sounds like an egotistical thing, well, you know what? I made it because I like listening to it. So that's a shout out to everyone that is listening to this. I'm not egotistical. Just listen to the album and have fun. There we go. Josh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Places comes out on October 6th, and there's pre-orders on merchnow.com. And if you guys want to do that, that's cool. We have a music video out called You Will Go on YouTube, and go check it out. Thank you so much for listening. This is Dawson Scholz from the Young Concept, and this is awesome. So thank you.